Here are 25 countries with the most bizarre, confusing, and downright weird borders you've ever seen. Let's dive in. Number 25. Belgium and the Netherlands share the world's most complex border. The Belgian-Dutch border is a nightmare of complexity with dozens of enclaves and counter-enclaves scattered everywhere, creating geographic chaos. Barley-Nassau and Barley-Hertog create a puzzle where Belgian territory sits inside Dutch territory, inside Belgian territory repeatedly. Some buildings have the border running straight through them, requiring two separate addresses for different rooms in the same house. Restaurants have borders marked on floors showing which country your table occupies while eating. The border was drawn in medieval times based on feudal land ownership, creating permanent chaos that modern governments inherited. Some houses pay taxes to two different countries simultaneously, depending on where their front door opens to the street. Border markers appear on sidewalks, through living rooms, and across cafe tables, showing exactly where sovereignty changes. Residents joke about vacuuming in two countries or sleeping with their head in Belgium and feet in the Netherlands. It's the most complicated border on Earth, requiring detailed maps just to navigate a single town without getting lost. The two communities cooperate closely, sharing emergency services despite technically belonging to separate nations. Number 24. India and Bangladesh have the most complex enclave system. The India-Bangladesh border contained one of the world's most complex territorial puzzles before a historic 2015 exchange. People lived in Indian territory completely surrounded by Bangladesh, which was itself surrounded by India again. The world's only third-order enclave existed here. The Hala Kagrabari was a piece of India inside a Bangladeshi piece inside an Indian piece inside Bangladesh proper. Residents needed passports just to access their own country's mainland for basic services like healthcare and education. Many families had lived in enclaves for generations, creating unique cultural identities separate from either mainland. In 2015, both countries finally exchanged enclaves, simplifying the border dramatically and ending decades of isolation. India transferred 111 enclaves to Bangladesh, while Bangladesh transferred 51 enclaves to India. The enclave residents were allowed to either continue residing at their present location or move to the country of their choice. Nearly 14,000 people living in the former Bangladeshi enclaves became Indian citizens, while about 36,000 people living in the former Indian enclaves became Bangladeshi citizens. The agreement represented one of history's most successful peaceful border resolutions, ending 68 years of uncertainty for over 50,000 people who had lived in stateless limbo. Number 23. Denmark's border stretches to Greenland. Denmark's territory spans from Europe to North America through Greenland, creating one of Earth's widest national spreads. The Kingdom of Denmark includes Denmark proper, the Faroe Islands, and Greenland. Greenland is geographically North American but politically European. Denmark's borders extend from the Arctic to the North Atlantic to the Baltic Sea. The country claims more territory in the Arctic than any European nation. Greenland's independence movement could dramatically shrink Denmark's geographic footprint. Denmark borders Germany and Europe and Canada in North America through maritime boundaries. It's a European kingdom with massive Arctic possessions creating transcontinental reach. Number 22. Haiti and the Dominican Republic share the Caribbean's most visible border. Haiti and the Dominican Republic share the island of Hispaniola, but their border is literally visible from space due to dramatic environmental differences. Satellite imagery shows lush forests still thriving on the Dominican Republic side of the border, in sharp contrast to the deforested Haitian side. The border appears as a stark line separating green forest from brown, barren land. Haiti was once almost completely covered in forests, but these currently cover just a third of the country's land area, with over a third of its primary forests lost since 2002. The Dominican government has long banned charcoal harvesting and subsidized propane gas as a cooking fuel, while Haiti relies on wood and charcoal for energy. Haiti consumes approximately 19,000 barrels per day of refined petroleum products, whereas the Dominican Republic consumes approximately 114,000 barrels per day, despite having similar populations. This energy poverty forces Haitians to cut down trees for cooking fuel, creating environmental devastation visible from orbit. Deforestation has catastrophic consequences beyond aesthetics. Loss of soil reinforcement and water extraction by tree roots increases the chances of landslides, which increases the devastating effect of earthquakes in Haiti. It's one of the world's only borders defined not by politics or geography, but by environmental policy decisions, creating a visible scar across an entire island. Number 21. Turkey straddles Europe and Asia. Turkey is the world's most significant transcontinental country, split by the Bosphorus Strait. European Turkey, Thrace, contains Istanbul's historic core, while Asian Turkey, Anatolia, holds 97% of the land. The Bosphorus Bridge physically connects two continents within one city. Istanbul is the only major city on Earth existing on two continents simultaneously. Turkey's transcontinental position made it strategically critical throughout history. The country functions as a literal bridge between European and Asian cultures. Turkish identity embraces both Eastern and Western influences because of its geography. Modern Turkey leverages its unique position for diplomatic and economic advantage across regions. Number 20. San Marino survives, surrounded by Italy. San Marino has maintained independence for over 1,700 years, despite being completely surrounded by Italy. The microstate sits on Mount Titano in north-central Italy, covering just 24 square miles. It's the world's oldest surviving republic, dating back to 301 AD. Napoleon respected San Marino's independence and refused to conquer it during Italian campaigns. Even Mussolini and Hitler left it alone during World War II. The country has no airport and relies on Italian infrastructure for access. San Marino's survival proves small can endure when bigger neighbors choose tolerance. Tourism and banking keep the economy independent despite geographic dependence. Number 19. Vatican City is an urban enclave in Rome. Vatican City is the world's smallest country at 0.17 square miles, completely surrounded by Rome. The papal state functions as an independent nation despite sitting in Italy's capital. You can walk around the entire country in under an hour. It has its own postal system, currency, radio station, and even a helipad. The Swiss Guard provides military protection with ceremonial uniforms, but serious training. Vatican City gained independence in 1929 through the Lateran Treaty with Italy. The Pope governs as an absolute monarch over fewer than 1,000 citizens. It's the only country where you can walk the entire border before lunch. Number 18. The Gambia is a sliver through Senegal. The Gambia cuts through Senegal like a knife, following the Gambia River inland. The country is only 30 miles wide on average, but stretches 200 miles inland. British colonizers claimed the river and surrounding territory while France controlled the rest. The Gambia almost completely bisects Senegal, creating geographic absurdity. The border was drawn based on how far British cannons could shoot from the river. Senegal surrounds the Gambia on three sides with the Atlantic on the fourth. Travel between northern and southern Senegal often requires crossing through the Gambia. It's one of Africa's strangest colonial border legacies. Number 17. Uzbekistan and Liechtenstein are doubly landlocked. Only two countries on Earth are doubly landlocked, surrounded only by landlocked countries. Uzbekistan is surrounded by Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Afghanistan, and Turkmenistan. Liechtenstein is surrounded by Switzerland and Austria, both landlocked themselves. Reaching the ocean from these countries requires crossing at least two international borders. This creates significant economic challenges for trade and shipping. Uzbekistan exports cotton but must route everything through neighbors first. Liechtenstein thrives despite isolation through banking and manufacturing. Being doubly landlocked is one of geography's rarest configurations. Number 16. Kazakhstan borders 5 countries in the Caspian Sea. Kazakhstan shares borders with Russia, China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, and Turkmenistan. The country also borders the Caspian Sea despite it being a lake. Kazakhstan is the world's largest landlocked country at over 1 million square miles. The Soviet collapse left Kazakhstan with nuclear weapons, briefly making it a nuclear power. The country stretches across vast steppes, deserts, and mountain ranges. Managing 5 international borders creates complex diplomatic relationships. Kazakhstan positions itself as a bridge between Europe and Asia. The border with Russia is the longest continuous land border on Earth. Number 15. Brunei is split in two by Malaysia. Brunei consists of 2 separate territories divided by the Malaysian state of Sarawak. Brunei proper contains the capital, while Temburong district sits isolated to the east. The Malaysian Limbang River Valley splits the country completely. Traveling between Brunei's 2 parts requires crossing through Malaysia or taking a boat. The separation occurred when Brunei gave away the Limbang territory under colonial pressure. Modern Brunei functions as a split nation with awkward internal geography. Oil wealth keeps the tiny sultanate prosperous despite territorial fragmentation. The Temburong Bridge, completed in 2020, finally provides direct access between both parts. Number 14. Azerbaijan has an exclave, cut off by Armenia. Azerbaijan's Nakhchivan exclave sits completely separated from the main country by Armenia. The autonomous republic borders Turkey, Iran, and Armenia, but not mainland Azerbaijan. Residents require air travel or transit through Iran to reach the rest of their country. The exclave formed from Soviet administrative divisions that became international borders. Nakhchivan has its own government operating semi-independently from Baku. Armenia and Azerbaijan's ongoing conflict makes the exclave even more isolated. The territory has been contested for centuries between various empires. It's one of the world's most geopolitically sensitive isolated territories. Number 13. Russia's Kaliningrad is separated from Russia. Kaliningrad Oblast is Russian territory completely separated from Russia proper by Lithuania and Belarus. The Baltic exclave has no land connection to mainland Russia whatsoever. Russia acquired the territory after World War II when it was German East Prussia. The exclave serves as Russia's only Baltic seaport that doesn't freeze in winter. Kaliningrad became even more isolated after Lithuania joined NATO and the EU. Russians must cross through potentially hostile territory to reach their own land. The exclave houses significant military forces, making it strategically critical. It's European territory that's politically and militarily Russian. Number 12. Point Roberts. Washington is cut off from the USA. Point Roberts is American territory accessible only by traveling through Canada. The small peninsula hangs below the 49th parallel, which defines the US-Canada border. The border was drawn straight across, cutting off Point Roberts from the rest of Washington. Residents must cross international borders twice just to reach mainland America. Students must cross into Canada and back daily to attend American schools. The community of 1,300 people lives in geographic isolation from their own country. Point Roberts exists because diplomats drew straight lines ignoring geographic reality. It's America's strangest border quirk, frozen by historical treaty. Number 11. Minnesota's Northwest Angle juts into Canada. The Northwest Angle is American territory accessible only through Canada or across water. This geographic oddity resulted from poor mapping in the 1783 Treaty of Paris. Diplomats used outdated maps showing the Mississippi River extending much farther north. The treaty defined the border to the Mississippi source, creating the isolated peninsula. The 123 square mile area has only about 120 residents living in complete isolation. Residents must cross into Canada and back to reach the rest of Minnesota. The Northwest Angle is the northernmost point in the contiguous United States. It's America's accidental exclave that shouldn't logically exist. Number 10. Campione d'Italia is Italian territory in Switzerland. Campione d'Italia is an Italian exclave completely surrounded by Switzerland on Lake Lugano. The town uses Swiss currency, Swiss phone numbers, and Swiss postal codes, despite being Italian. Residents speak Italian but function economically as Swiss. The exclave resulted from medieval land grants that became permanent borders. Campione operates in a legal gray zone following some Italian and some Swiss laws. The famous casino attracts visitors from Switzerland, avoiding their own gambling restrictions. It's geographic confusion creating economic opportunity. The exclave proves borders don't always determine practical reality. Number 9. Spain owns cities inside Morocco. Ceuta and Melilla are Spanish cities located on Morocco's northern coast. These enclaves have been Spanish for over 500 years despite being in Africa. Morocco claims the territories while Spain maintains their integral parts of Spain. The cities serve as European Union territory on the African continent. Border fences separate Spanish Europe from Moroccan Africa within a few miles. Both cities face challenges from migration and smuggling across their borders. Spanish North Africa is a colonial legacy frozen in time. The enclaves represent where Europe and Africa physically meet under European control. Number 8. France borders Brazil in South America. France shares a 450-mile border with Brazil through French Guiana. The Overseas Department is fully part of France despite being in South America. French Guiana uses the euro, follows French law, and elects representatives to Paris. The European Space Agency launches rockets from Kourou, making it Europe's spaceport. France is simultaneously European and South American geographically. The border with Brazil makes France Brazil's longest European neighbor. France never decolonized this territory, integrating it instead. It's South American land that votes in European elections. Number 7. The Netherlands has Caribbean islands. The Netherlands includes 3 Caribbean islands: Bonaire, Sint Eustatius, and Saba. These islands are fully integrated parts of the Netherlands despite being 5,000 miles from Amsterdam. They use the US dollar but follow Dutch law and vote in Dutch elections. The Netherlands controls territory in Europe, the Caribbean, and South America simultaneously. Former colonies became integral parts of the kingdom rather than independent. The Caribbean Netherlands creates geographic absurdity for a European nation. Residents are Dutch citizens living in tropical paradise. It's European governance applied to Caribbean geography. Number 6. Argentina and Chile. almost went to war over 3 islands. Argentina and Chile nearly fought in 1978 over 3 tiny islands in the Beagle Channel. The Picton, Lennox, and Nueva Islands are barely inhabited rocks in the Southern Ocean. Papal mediation prevented war with both countries mobilizing militarily. The islands control maritime boundaries extending into Antarctica and the Atlantic. Chile gained the islands, granting them extensive maritime territory. The conflict shows how worthless-looking land controls valuable ocean. Border disputes over tiny islands can trigger major international crises. Geographic precision matters when maritime rights worth billions are at stake. Number 5. Cyprus is divided by a UN buffer zone. Cyprus has been split since 1974 with a UN-patrolled buffer zone separating the two sides. The Green Line cuts through the capital, Nicosia, creating Europe's last divided capital. Northern Cyprus is recognized only by Turkey, while the Republic of Cyprus is internationally recognized. The buffer zone contains abandoned towns frozen in time since 1974. Crossing points allow limited movement, but the division remains permanent. Cyprus joined the EU, but Turkish Cyprus remains outside European control. The divided island represents unresolved Mediterranean geopolitics. A border drawn by tanks remains enforced by UN peacekeepers. Number 4. Morocco claims Western Sahara. Morocco controls most of Western Sahara, but the territory's status remains disputed internationally. The Polisario Front claims independence backed by Algeria. A massive sand wall built by Morocco divides the territory physically. Morocco considers Western Sahara its southern provinces, while others call it occupied territory. The conflict has simmered since Spanish withdrawal in 1975. Thousands of Sahrawis live in refugee camps in Algeria waiting to return. The dispute affects Morocco's international relations and African Union membership. It's Africa's longest-running territorial dispute with no resolution in sight. Number 3. Korea is divided by the world's most militarized border. The Korean Demilitarized Zone is actually the world's most heavily militarized border. The 2.5-mile-wide buffer zone separates North and South Korea across the 38th parallel. Over 1 million troops face each other across minefields and barbed wire. The DMZ has remained virtually unchanged since the 1953 armistice. Accidental wildlife preserve emerged in the abandoned zone, creating unexpected biodiversity. Tourist areas allow controlled visits to see the border from observation points. The Joint Security Area at Panmunjom permits limited face-to-face meetings. It's the world's most dangerous border where war could restart instantly. Number 2. Sudan and Egypt disagree on their border. Sudan and Egypt have opposite claims, creating 2 disputed territories. The Hala'ib Triangle is claimed by both but controlled by Egypt. The Bir Tawil Triangle is claimed by neither, creating unclaimed territory. Egypt controls Hala'ib for its Red Sea coast access. Sudan claims Hala'ib but occupies neither disputed territory. Bir Tawil remains one of Earth's only unclaimed lands that nobody wants. The dispute comes from conflicting colonial borders drawn by the British. 2 territories exist where borders contradict, creating geographic paradox. Number 1. The Diomede Islands split yesterday and tomorrow. Big Diomede belongs to Russia, while Little Diomede belongs to the United States. The international dateline runs between them, creating a 21-hour time difference. When it's Monday on Little Diomede, it's Tuesday on Big Diomede, just 2.4 miles away. The islands are called Yesterday Island and Tomorrow Island, respectively. Indigenous peoples historically moved freely between islands before Cold War restrictions. Winter ice connects the islands, but crossing is illegal. 2 islands within sight of each other exist in different days. It's where geography meets time travel, creating temporal border confusion. Borders are way weirder than any map shows. Which border shocked you most? Drop it in the comments. Subscribe for more geography facts that prove our world is stranger than fiction.